Hey everybody, Joe Morrison with the 49th State Angel Fund. Coming to you at the top of the podcast today, before we talk to our amazing urban fellows, before we talk to the great DJ Spencer Lee about his life, I need your help and I need your advice. So here goes. I'm going to ask you to do something today, and that is to give us some guidance. 49th State Angel Fund has turned 6 years old, and back in 2012, I guarantee none of us could have imagined that this initiative would still be going strong 6 years later, investing for the future and creating value for our community. But that said, it is 6 years later, things have changed. Alaska's entrepreneurial ecosystem is growing, startups are growing, and we need to know how we can do a better job of serving you. So here's the ask. Head over to 49saf.com, click the link at the top of the page for the survey that I need your help with. What can we do better? What are we doing well? We'll look at the data, we'll close the survey down March 11th at midnight, and we'll use that information to inform our decisions going forward. Second thing, yes, we're open for fund proposals, and we're excited. We're getting a lot of interest, looking to make $1.5 million of new investment recommendations this year. We're looking forward to working with fund managers, both new and old, pardon that term, as we move forward. So, fund applications are open until April 1st. All right, that's it. Less of me, more of DJ Spencer Lee and the Urban Fellows. Hi, everybody. Joe Morrison, 49SAF Pod. Having trouble using my big boy words today. Anyway, I'm here with the Anchorage Urban Fellows, who are
Johnny Marie Straker.
And Barry DeSuvero, and that's how you say that name.
All right. Yeah, it's a complicated name. And the most important thing we need to tell you today is that the 49 SAF is open for applications. So what does this mean? It means that we're looking for new investment fund proposals and concepts that will invest our capital into Anchorage. We have $1.5 million that we want to make investment recommendations on this year, and we're excited about doing new things for Anchorage.
Yeah, we are.
All right, so now we need to know more about the Anchorage Urban Fellows. You guys are taking over the podcast in March. Tell me what you're doing.
Well, we're doing a little series called the Spotlight Series. So we're going to be talking to different successful businesses in Anchorage from a variety of types of businesses, from nightlife places to your favorite places for coffee and food. And we're talking about their personal stories, how they started a business, how they failed, how they made it work, and how do they exist. Yeah. So it's more than just an excuse for us to meet our favorite business owners. I promise.
We'll also be bringing large spotlights just to shine into them.
Yeah, we also shine spotlights in people's eyes and then just see how they react. That's a part of the podcast too.
Okay, well, that's going to give us a good name in the community. Thanks, guys. And we're going to roll into our interview now with DJ Spencer Lee. DJ Spencer Lee is one of Anchorage's better-known DJs. He just hosted two unique events, I think, in the last week or two. One was called Jams for Fams, and one was called the Spenard Prom.
Yeah, I heard of the Spenard Prom. I almost attended.
Yeah, I wasn't cool enough, but I wish I could have gone.
I wasn't asked, I wish.
Well, listen, I think the interesting point here,
Oh,
anyway, the interesting point here is that DJs, traditionally February is kind of a quiet time for them. So, I talked with DJ Spencer Lee about business planning, about how he analyzed the opportunity to go out on his own because he's really self-employed. And this is just a chance to talk with somebody who's self-employed and what that life is like. It's a form of entrepreneurship. It's not necessarily building a huge company, but it is how a lot of people are getting paid today in what we call the gig economy, right?
Yeah, and it's my favorite type of music, so.
It's very Alaskan.
Yeah.
Right on. So let's go into the interview. Thanks for listening to the 49SF Pod. Here we go.
Woo!
Anchorage or Homer?
What?
It's just a question, Anchorage or Homer?
I know, but what's it?
Answer it how you want to answer it, man.
I'm from Homer, and I live in Anchorage.
Listen, I'm going to crack open this LaCroix. Is that all right?
Do it.
That's the stuff of interviewer fame right there. How'd you get started doing this? How did this evolve?
I worked in a record store when I was in high school. My old man worked in a record store, so we always just had a lot of music around the house.
There were record stores in Homer, Alaska?
Yeah. Solstice Music was the independent record store I worked at.
Where was it?
It was across from Don Jose's on Pioneer. Yeah. So I did that. And then when I came up to Anchorage to go to college and I was listening to more music and listening more rap music with DJs, I was like, this is something I want to get into. And I had a summer gig wildland firefighting in Kenai and made pretty good money. And that's how I bought my turntables.
Yeah, I'm just processing that you're a firefighter.
Yeah, wildland. So I wasn't going in any buildings. It was a lot of cutting trees down and lighting them on fire in the middle of the woods. Fuel reduction, they call it.
So you're a firefighter, you bought some turntables.
Yes.
And then what?
That was it. And then I went down to Bernie's, and when Bernie's had a nice outdoor patio, before there was any pavement or anything out there, it was just basically kind of, big outdoor yard.
Help me with this. Give me the year. What is this, late 70s, late 80s?
2002.
Oh, okay then.
And I said, hey, Bernie, I want to DJ out here. I think I'd be a good fit for what you got going on. And he said, okay, give it a whirl. And I probably had my turntables for maybe 6 months at that point. And I did it, and he liked what I did. I was playing like old DJ Shadow records, old Stevie Wonder records. I didn't really know how to mix. I was just kind of playing what I thought would be a good vibe for outdoor. And yeah, he hired me on the spot, and I did that for several years there.
Did you ever DJ at KRUA?
I've played on air a couple times at KRUA, and I worked at KRUA. I was an assistant news director. I got a Goldie. I believe my lead was the long arm of the law, maybe shifting gears on a bike.
So you DJ'd at Bernie's, you were on air, you did some news stuff. Keep telling us about the evolution of your career, man.
I have a journalism degree from UAA, so did some broadcast media, worked at Channel 2 for a bit, worked at the Associated Press, ended up over at the Daily News doing web stuff, and then a position opened up as entertainment editor, and I did that for a couple years, and was always just DJing on the side.
Sure. So 1 year there, and then you decide to get footloose, fancy free, and throw your hat into the ring of self-employment. Talk about that decision.
Super scary. But I had at that point, a regular Thursday night at the Pioneer Bar. And I knew if I had that, I could book Fridays and Saturdays. So that gave me a sense of enough working stability that it was easy for me to do.
But why? What triggered it?
Well, for me, it was like a now or never thing. And I decided to do it. I mean, at that point, I had been DJing for 10 years. And I thought I was good enough to do it full time, kind of based on what I saw going on in town and just how I felt about my skills and things like that.
So did you get mathematical about it? Did you put it in an Excel spreadsheet? Did you just say, well, I feel like there aren't a lot of DJs around. I feel like they're not meeting the market needs. Like, talk about that opportunity assessment a little bit. Did you formalize it?
No. Like I said, it was, I normally gig out Friday and Saturdays. So, and I know what I make doing that. And if I can add Thursdays in the mix, I think that's good enough to be where I want to be.
Long time ago, there was some dude called Encyclopedia Brown.
Yes, Encyclopedia Brown. So you couldn't even say it. That's why I had to change it.
Yeah, no. But is that why you changed it?
Yeah, I was doing more radio stuff, and it was just too hard to say, and it's too hard to spell. I won a Best DJ award from the Anchorage Press one year, and they misspelled Encyclopedia Brown on it. So I was just like, okay, and it was time for a change. So Spencer Lee is my middle name. So Spencer is my real first name, and yeah, that's kind of how the .com was available, and here I am.
So what are your big goals for the year?
I'm just trying to just kind of keep building. Always bigger and better is the MO. Keep building my parties. I'm doing my first adult party solo thing at the Beartooth on Thursday. I'm doing a Spinard prom, so that's new for me. And hopefully open some more doors, and it's successful enough that I can keep building on that.
Yeah, that's a super creative idea. How'd you guys come up with it?
I ripped somebody off.
Now, so there is some element of being economically intelligent in what you're doing. Like, you're seeing what other people are doing in other markets and you're bringing it here. Is that what's happening?
No, there was literally another person doing Spinard prom for several years, and then they hadn't done it for 5 years. And I called them up and said, hey, it looks like you haven't done this in 5 years. Do you mind if I do it? And they were gracious enough to say yes.
That's really cool of you, man.
Yeah.
That's you're a gentleman. You've got integrity. That's sweet. Hey, but let's talk a little bit about Jams for Fams, right?
Yes.
So
All
tell me about the evolution of that, and why you made the choice that you made.
Sure. I saw an opportunity to do something that nobody else was doing, which was an all ages family dance party for parents and kids during the day, and do it really with like a high level of production, not unsimilar to something we'd see when we went out to a concert or a club, right? So lights, quality DJing, good sound, just an immersive experience. And I saw there's an entity in the US called Baby Loves Disco that does those kind of parties. And so I franchised that name for Alaska, and I was throwing parties as Baby Loves Disco. I threw my first one Halloween 2015, sold out. And I was like, okay, I think we got something here. So I just kept building that. And then this year I rebranded, and I'm no longer franchising, and I kind of created my own name and branding, which is Jams for Fams, jamsforfams.com. And just continuing to build on the success I've had with those parties, and kind of trying to see where that takes me.
And you don't have to pay 20 or 30% of something, right?
Yeah, I don't have to pay a franchising fee, and I'm completely in control of whatever I want to do it. So, for example, if I wanted to do one outside of Alaska, I could do that.
Yeah, that's really cool. What's the favorite thing about your job?
I mean, I think every self-employed person really likes being their own boss. I think that's a big part of it. And just being able to do what I want to do. Hey, Og. We can hear you, buddy.
Og's creeping.
August, one of my kids, is trying to get in here on the interview.
Well, he likes to hang out with Daddy.
Yeah. So, no, I think that's probably being self-employed, and also just being able to come up with an idea and execute it, right? That's very rewarding to say, I have this idea. I think it'll work. I'm going to do whatever it takes to make it happen. And then if it's successful, that's awesome. I built it. If it's not, that's on me. And it's not, you can't point at anybody else, right? So being the dude that's responsible for your own success or failure is edifying.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. So what's challenging about your job? What's kind of maybe not the world's best part of being DJ Spencer Lee? Well,
I think that's the part about you're never completely in control. There's always gatekeepers. So, you might throw a good party, but you've got to convince the venue to let you do it, right? You might throw a good party, but you've got to convince people to come to it. And then, just all those little checks along the way that you've got to overcome.
Have you seen Anchorage change in the last 10 years? Or has it sort of felt like it stayed the same?
I guess if I could just make it about something specific with maybe the scene, as it were.
Yeah, sure.
Right. I would say that the thing I always think and say is that, like, you get the scene you deserve. So if you go out and support shows and concerts when they come to town, people will keep doing it. If you don't, then they won't, because it's not the most lucrative business to be in, and it's very, very heavy on risk, right? If you throw a show and nobody shows up, you lost a lot of money and you might not do it again. If you throw a show and a lot of people show up, you made a little money and you might do it again.
On a typical week, let's go through the life of the self-employed great DJ Spencer Lee.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Tell me let's start on Monday. How are we rolling?
The beginning of the week is always very exciting. Lots of admin, lots of emails, lots of meeting. That's essentially what I'm doing through Thursday, through Friday, even until Friday night. Most weeks is just boring small business stuff that every small business owner does if they want to stay in business. So, the fun part of that is maybe marketing, social media. But other than that, it's just, admin and meetings, emails.
Okay, but then you have to DJs at some point. So when do you start DJing? You do a little after hours here and there. What's going on?
Normally people book DJs Friday and Saturday nights, so that's when I'll have gigs. So during the week, like I said, doing that admin or also doing other more glamorous, but not really as glamorous as DJing, I guess. Downloading new music, making sure I'm staying on top of that, maybe working on mixes or recording mixes for radio, that kind of stuff.
And this is kind of a easy diversion. Like, it's your job. It's your job to be up on tunes.
Right.
But when it's 10:49 p.m., the kids have gone to bed, maybe you're going to watch a little Netflix, play a little Xbox. What are you listening to?
I listen to, when I'm not working, more like chill, vibey stuff. So like house music, new disco, stuff like that. The new Chromeo album is really dope. That kind of stuff I'm feeling. Oliver, that new album was good. That's the kind of stuff I'm into.
What's been the highlight? So you've been doing this long time, from Bernie's to opening for some really cool acts. What's been the highlight so far of your career?
I think the biggest thing was probably opening for Diplo and RL Grime downtown. I think there was 3,000 people at that show.
Was that an outdoor thing?
That was an outdoor thing. Yeah. On F Street. And, of course, not all of them were there when I started playing, but, yeah, that was the biggest show I've been a part of. That or Macklemore, which was also a big show that I got to open.
Well, I didn't know you did that. When did that happen?
When did Macklemore happen? 2013.
Was it here?
Yeah, sold out the Egan. 2,500 people. He was number one on iTunes when he came to town.
Your advice to somebody who's going to leave the day job?
Don't just stop and think you can switch gears automatically. Like, make sure you've done some legwork to have the things in place that you're going to need when you become full-time. So, for example, do you have all your branding and marketing stuff done? Do you have your website built? You know, have you had conversations with people that you think might hire you if you were full-time, you know, just to kind of feel it out? And make sure that, you know, you set yourself up to succeed kind of with the transition and some components there. Because it's going to take time to get up and running. So make sure that you have enough runway that if you don't get work in 3 months, are you just going to have to go back to work just when things were starting to take off?
And you a good salesman?
I don't think I'm a very good salesman, frankly. So my strategy has been be good enough at what I do that I don't have to sell it too hard.
You're a good marketer, though.
I think I'm all right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that stuck out to me that you've talked about has always been how people put you on the spot and they say, you must have the world's most amazing life. You're a DJ. Mm-hmm. You're DJing. You're living the dream.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's your response?
Yeah. I mean, it's fun. I love it. And it's, at the end of the day, it's what I want to be doing. And that makes me super happy. But there's work, you know, just like in anything else. And if I lose focus of that, then I won't be able to do it anymore. So that's always kind of in the forefront of my mind, is to stay working.
All right, well, stay working, man. I really appreciate your time today. Are these little dudes going to play some music for us or what?
What do you think, Og? Yeah, we'll see if we can get them in here.
All right, let's listen to Three Shroy Boys do something.
Standing up, Joe, are you serious?
I'm serious.
No, that's weird, dude.
Yeah, you're weird, dude.
I mean, it's gonna be like a 10-minute one.
It's gonna be like a 20-minute one. You gotta stretch it out in your gym jams.
Ethan, Robert. Okay, guys. Hey, guys. Why don't you go back downstairs and help Kathy with cookies, okay?
Okay.